before anything begins, before the noise of the day arrives, there is a moment that belongs only to you. It is that brief silence before your feet touch the floor, before the first message appears, before your attention is demanded. In this space, you meet yourself, free from expectation, free from performance. This stillness is not empty, it is full of potential. It is the source from which clarity, energy, and direction can flow if you only choose to enter it with awareness. Most people wake up and immediately reach outward. Their hand reaches for the phone, their mind leaps into tasks, their attention fractures. In doing so, they skip the most sacred part of the day, the beginning. But if the foundation of a house is rushed, the whole structure becomes unstable. Stillness is your foundation. It is not weakness, laziness, or delay. It is alignment. It is the act of placing yourself at the center before the world tries to pull you in every direction. Stillness does not require a mountain retreat or complete silence. It requires presence. It can be one deep breath taken consciously. It can be the way you pour your first cup of tea slowly and deliberately. It can be the way you sit upright but not tense and allow yourself to simply observe the sensations in your body. This is not about technique, it is about attention. When you start your day with attention, your day begins to respond with meaning. You must guard the start of your day like a sacred doorway. Who you let in, what you let in, will color the entire path ahead. If you open that door to noise, stress, comparison, and chaos, you will carry that vibration forward. But if you open it to breath, presence, and self-connection, you carry strength. This does not mean ignoring life's demands. It means meeting them from a place of choice, not compulsion. The stillness gives you space to decide how you want to meet the world, not just survive it. This is why warriors meditate. This is why monks rise before the sun. This is why the most disciplined individuals begin in silence, not because they are avoiding life, but because they are preparing themselves to live it fully. Your stillness in the morning is not separate from action. It is the origin of purposeful action. If you begin in stillness, you move through the day like water flowing, adapting, but never lost. Each morning is an invitation that many overlook. We tend to carry the past like a shadow. Yesterday's mistakes, last week's stress, last year's regrets. But the moment you open your eyes, you are given something extraordinary, a chance to begin again. Not metaphorically, but in a real and practical sense. Your body has rested. Your mind, though perhaps still busy, is at its quietest. The world has not yet demanded anything from you. This gap, this clean slate, is sacred. You are not bound to yesterday unless you choose to carry it forward. A new beginning does not require external change. You do not need a new city, a new job, or a new identity to start over. A true new beginning is internal. It is the quiet decision to respond differently, to see differently, to be different, not because of pressure, but because you've remembered that you have the power to choose. This is the essence of transformation, not waiting for life to change, but becoming the one who changes how life is met. Every sunrise is nature's way of reminding you cycles end and new ones begin. You are part of that same rhythm. Most people underestimate how many new beginnings are available to them. They think they need permission, or they believe change must be dramatic to be real. But in truth, a beginning can be as simple as breathing more consciously today, choosing not to repeat a certain pattern, speaking with kindness even when it's difficult, These shifts are small in appearance but large in impact. A seed is not impressive when first planted, but given time, it can break through concrete. In the same way, a new beginning, no matter how small, can become the root of something powerful. There is great strength in recognizing that the past cannot hold you unless you hold it. Often, we confuse memory with identity. Just because something happened, just because you were someone yesterday, does not mean you must remain that version today. This is the gift of waking up. You are not fixed. You are not a product of repetition. You are a living process. Each day, you are being reformed by your awareness, your choices, and your values. But that only becomes real when you consciously recognize the power you hold the moment the day begins. The problem is not that new beginnings are rare. It's that we are rarely present enough to claim them. We become so entangled in the automatic flow of routines, habits, and roles that we forget we can begin anew at any moment. But if you start your morning by acknowledging this truth, if you pause and remind yourself that you are not your past, you will walk differently. You will speak differently. You will live with intention rather than inertia. The power of a new beginning is not about escape. It is about returning to who you are capable of being. Many people search for peace the same way they search for possessions. Outside themselves, as if it were a prize waiting to be discovered in a quieter place, a better relationship, or a more stable life. But peace is not found the way you find an object. It is grown the way you cultivate a garden. It does not arrive when conditions are perfect. It emerges when you learn to remain centered even when conditions are not. True peace is not the absence of chaos. It is the presence of calm within the chaos. It is not dependent on the world behaving a certain way. It is the result of how you choose to relate to the world, no matter how it behaves. The external world is ever changing. It shifts with time, with emotion, with circumstance. If you place your peace in the hands of others, in the events of the day, or in the approval of the world, your inner state will always be fragile. You will be calm when things go well and disturbed the moment they don't. But the mind that learns to be still despite noise, the heart that remains soft despite difficulty, the person who does not react impulsively to every disturbance, that is someone who has learned to cultivate peace from within. Such peace is unshakable because it is not borrowed, it is built. Cultivation implies effort. A garden does not bloom simply because you wish it to. It requires care, consistency, and patience. The same is true for peace. It comes from the way you breathe through stress, the way you respond instead of react, the way you choose silence over shouting, stillness over racing. It is built through meditation, reflection, simplicity, and restraint. This does not mean you become passive. It means you become aware. And from awareness comes clarity. And from clarity, peace naturally arises, not forced but allowed. Peace is not something you chase. In fact, the more you chase it through external means, pleasure, distraction, avoidance, the more it slips away. Because the pursuit itself implies that you lack it. But when you slow down, when you turn inward and begin to observe your own mind without judgment, you realize that peace was never missing. It was simply covered by noise, by desire, by fear. To cultivate peace is to remove these layers not by force, but with gentle understanding. It is an act of returning to what has always been quietly present underneath. This is why even in the busiest cities, some people walk with presence. This is why in the midst of loss, some individuals remain steady, not because they are numb, but because they have built a home inside themselves that cannot be shaken by circumstance. That home is peace, and it does not come through escape. It comes through meeting life fully and choosing not to lose yourself in it. When you begin to cultivate peace from within, the world no longer dictates your state, you do. We often label difficulties as problems, as interruptions to our peace or detours from our path. But a deeper perspective reveals something else. What you call a challenge is, in truth, an invitation. It is life asking you to grow. When the wind pushes against you, it's not trying to stop you. It's strengthening your steps. Just as muscles only grow through resistance, the mind and spirit deepen through difficulty. Without pressure, there is no refinement. Without struggle, there is no sharpening. What tests you today may be the very thing that prepares you for what you asked for yesterday. When you shift your view from, why is this happening to me, to, what is this here to teach me, everything changes. Challenges no longer become enemies to avoid, but teachers to listen to. They reveal your limits not to punish you, but to show you where growth is needed. They expose the areas of your life where you are still reactive, impatient, unsure. This exposure is not a failure, it is a mirror. And when you see clearly, you can begin the work of strengthening, not by fighting life, but by learning from it. Avoiding discomfort may bring temporary ease, but it leads to long-term stagnation. Strength is not born in comfort. It is born when you keep walking through the fog, when you breathe through the tension, when you sit with discomfort without trying to escape it. These moments carve depth into your character. They build not just outer resilience, but inner maturity, the kind that doesn't collapse at the first sign of difficulty, but instead breathes, steadies, and steps forward with calm intention. Nature teaches this constantly. The tree that grows where the wind is harsh develops deeper roots. The river that flows over rocks does not stop. It becomes clearer, stronger, more persistent. You are not separate from this process. Your difficulties are not signs of weakness. They are shaping tools. And how you meet them defines who you become. The moment you stop resisting challenge and begin embracing it as part of your path, you reclaim your power. You begin to work with life, not against it. Strength is not about how much you can control. It is about how much you can face without losing your center. When you understand this, challenges stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like preparation. Every moment that feels heavy is forging something in you that cannot be developed through ease alone. And if you can carry this mindset into your day, you will move through difficulty, not bitter, not broken, but built. There is a moment, often overlooked, that exists between what happens and how you respond. It is a brief, silent space, barely noticeable to the untrained mind. Yet within that space lies your freedom. Most people live as if they are slaves to their emotions, triggered by events, pulled by moods, swayed by other people's words and actions. But with awareness, you begin to see the truth. No one can make you angry, impatient, or unkind. These are reactions that arise within you, and because they arise from within, you can also choose something different. Reactivity is automatic. It's the conditioned response of a mind that has not been observed. When someone criticizes you, you tense. When plans fall apart, you get frustrated. When things don't go your way, you resist. But every reaction has a cost. It takes energy, clarity, and inner peace. Responding, on the other hand, is a conscious act. It's a pause, a breath, a choice to remain centered instead of collapsing into old habits. The more often you pause before acting, the more power you reclaim from the world around you. To respond rather than react is not a weakness. It is mastery. It shows that your internal state is not at the mercy of the external world. This is the foundation of emotional strength. Anyone can be calm when nothing is disturbing them. But to be calm in the middle of chaos, to speak kindly when you're under pressure, to act with integrity when anger arises. This is real discipline. This is the fruit of self-awareness. And it is something you build moment by moment by noticing the space between stimulus and response and choosing not to act from impulse. Many people wait for life to calm down so they can feel better. But the wise do the opposite. They calm themselves first and let their response shape the outcome. If you respond to stress with stress, you multiply it. But if you meet stress with presence, with steadiness, it loses its power over you. In this way, you do not just manage your emotions, you transform the energy around you. You become an influence rather than being influenced. And this is where personal leadership begins, not in controlling others, but in mastering yourself. Every day brings situations where your response is tested. Someone will be late. Something will go wrong. Someone will misunderstand you. These are not just inconveniences. They are opportunities. Opportunities to practice choosing. Will you let the situation shape you, or will you shape how you meet it? In that choice lies all your personal power. And the more you choose consciously, the more peace you carry, regardless of what the world throws at you. To live intentionally is to live by design, not by default. It means you are not simply reacting to life, but actively shaping it, moment by moment, with awareness. Most people move through their days on autopilot, pulled by distractions, driven by habits they didn't choose, saying yes when they mean no, and drifting without direction. But to live intentionally is to pause before movement, to reflect before speech, and to choose with clarity rather than compulsion. It's not about being perfect, it's about being awake. Impulse is the mind acting without awareness. It is quick to please, quick to defend, quick to avoid. It seeks comfort and novelty, not depth. When you act impulsively, you are often trying to escape discomfort or chase a temporary high. But those fleeting decisions, scrolling endlessly, speaking without thought, chasing noise, come at a cost. They may satisfy for a moment, but they often leave you feeling scattered, unanchored, and disconnected from yourself. Intention, by contrast, is rooted. It asks not, what feels good now, but what leads me where I truly want to go. Intentional living begins with a question. What matters most right now? It could be your peace, your purpose, the kind of energy you want to bring into the room. When you ask this question throughout the day, your actions become more aligned, more meaningful. You may speak less, but your words carry more weight. You may do fewer things, but with greater presence and care. Intention simplifies life, not by removing challenges, but by removing the unnecessary. When you know your why, the how becomes clear. Living this way doesn't mean everything is planned or rigid. It means you remain conscious, even in the small things. The way you eat, the way you listen, the way you respond to a delay or a disagreement. Intention brings depth to the ordinary. It turns routine into ritual. It turns a walk into a meditation, a conversation into a connection. Life stops feeling like something that is happening to you and starts becoming something you are actively participating in. Even silence becomes meaningful when you are present with it. To live intentionally is to reclaim your time, your attention, your energy. These are your most valuable currencies. When spent impulsively, they are quickly lost. But when invested with awareness, they return as peace, clarity, and fulfillment. You do not need to control everything to live well. You need only to be conscious of how you move through each moment. And the more intentional you become, the more your life begins to reflect who you truly are beneath the noise. Your energy is your presence. It is the invisible message you carry into every space, every interaction, every task. People often think of energy as something that just happens to them, as if it's random or dictated by how much sleep they got, what mood they're in, or how others behave. But energy is not accidental. It is shaped by your focus, your habits, your mindset, and your emotional patterns. To own your energy means to take responsibility for what you bring into the world, not just in action, but in vibration. It's not just what you do, but how you do it. Each day, you wake up with a certain inner atmosphere. That atmosphere may feel light or heavy, calm or scattered, strong or depleted. And without awareness, that energy becomes your lens. You see everything through it, often without realizing it. A small inconvenience feels like a burden. A neutral comment feels like an insult. Or a minor delay feels like a disaster because your internal state is off balance. But when you begin to own your energy, you step out of this cycle. You stop letting circumstances dictate your mood. You start becoming the source, not the echo. Owning your energy doesn't mean forcing positivity or pretending to be calm. It means recognizing where your attention goes and how it shapes your inner space. It means noticing when your energy begins to shift, when frustration starts building, when anxiety creeps in, when your breath shortens, and choosing not to let that energy take control of your actions. It is not about suppressing emotion, but about responding to it with wisdom. You ask, what is this emotion trying to show me? Rather than, how can I get rid of it? In that shift, you reclaim power. What you carry, you give. If you are filled with tension, you will spread tension. If you carry patience and clarity, that too will ripple outward. This is why owning your energy is an act of service, not just self-care. You affect the environments you enter, not through volume or force, but through the subtle field of your presence. A steady person calms a room without speaking. A kind person softens conflict without argument. A clear person brings direction where there was once confusion. This is not magic, it is inner alignment expressed outwardly. You don't need perfect circumstances to own your energy. You only need to be willing to observe yourself honestly. Ask yourself throughout the day, what energy am I feeding right now? Is it reactive? Is it grounded? Is it scattered? Is it open? And from that observation, choose what to cultivate. Just like a musician tunes their instrument before playing, you can tune your state before acting. You become more intentional with your time, your presence, your attention, and in doing so, you create not just a better day, but a more stable version of yourself. Most people move through life as if they are being pushed by the world. They feel like victims of circumstance, shaped by the mood of others, limited by the past, and constantly reacting to events beyond their control. But this is an illusion, a comfortable one, perhaps, but one that keeps you small. The truth is this: you are not the effect of the world around you. You are the cause. You are the starting point. Life is not simply happening to you. It is responding to who you are being. When you shift from reaction to creation, everything changes. You are not powerless. You have the ability to influence the energy of a room without saying a word. You can elevate a conversation through presence or poison it through judgment. You can turn a moment of stress into a moment of awareness by choosing how to show up. These choices, though small and quiet, are the most powerful tools you possess. To be the cause is to stop waiting for permission, for peace, for clarity, to stop depending on others to give you what you have not yet given to yourself. It means stepping into the responsibility of shaping your inner and outer world. Being the cause doesn't mean you control everything. It means you influence how you meet everything. You may not be able to stop the rain, but you can decide whether you dance in it or complain about it. You may not control how others speak, but you choose whether to mirror their tone or maintain your own. This subtle shift from "I can't help it" to "I choose how I meet this" is the beginning of freedom. It's not about denying emotion. It's about no longer being ruled by it. It's not about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. Your mindset is not simply a reflection of your life. It is a creator of it. The beliefs you carry, the tone you speak with, the thoughts you repeat, all shape what life becomes for you. If you constantly speak from lack, life will reflect that emptiness. If you lead with gratitude, the world begins to feel more generous. You don't need to wait for life to get better before you feel better. In fact, the moment you decide to take full ownership of your state, your words, your energy, your direction, that's when life begins to align with you, not the other way around. When you recognize yourself as the cause, you stop outsourcing your power. You no longer wait for peace. You become the source of it. You don't wait for motivation. You generate it. You don't wait for love. You offer it. This is not an ego-driven control. It is quiet strength. It is the calm authority of someone who knows that while the world may be unpredictable, their inner compass is not. The most grounded individuals are not untouched by life's storms. They are rooted deeply in the understanding that they can respond, create, and lead from within.